Welcome everybody to episode 192 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. And I guess we get straight into it. We put up a mailbag, so shall we open the bag and get stuck into it?
Absolutely. It's just 2 or 3 weeks late, but that's okay.
Look, it's not as bad as some people on a variety of selling pages or eBay and things, so at least we're getting round to the mail, hey?
Yeah. Alrighty, Scotty James. KD is one of the all-time greats and perhaps a bit unheralded due to who his career has overlapped with. If you were to pick up a KD card for your collection, what era would you go with? Thunder, Warriors, Nets, or Suns? Fantastic question, Scotty James. Adam, I'll let you do the initial biddings.
All right. I think it comes down to two. I think it's either Warriors or Thunder.
Sure.
MVP with the Thunder, Finals MVP with the Warriors. Like, that's peak Kevin Durant right there, really. Is it you the real MVP, Warriors, Thunder? I don't know. I don't think I could give him the Warriors one, so I have to say Thunder.
So I think for me, if I want his rookie stuff, obviously it's going to be in Thunder uniform. I think that's great. But I think if I was looking for a card of KD's, I would want Game 1 Finals material. So I'd be going flawless for that, which would be Warriors. So they're the two cards I'd be chasing for KD. Yep. Rookie patch autographs plus a game-worn finals piece of jersey. So that's where I'm going with that. I mean, the Nets and the Suns one, I think we can forget about those eras altogether, can't we? I think the best thing he did for the Nets was give them an enormous amount of draft foliage is the right way to say that. And what are the Suns going to be when KD leaves? An absolute hot mess.
How about I throw one at you?
Sure.
What about a Nets Kevin Durant kaboom?
I mean, that's a different thing altogether, but I would be collecting that for the kaboom, not that it's Kevin Durant
Not the
card.
Kevin Durant. Okay, fair. Very, very true.
Lachlan Blunt, Thunder, in my opinion, but for value, I think there'll be some great buys for Nets. And that kind of makes sense a little bit too if you're looking for a cheap autograph. Yep.
Well, it's one of, I think that's why I touched on the kaboom factor. I said there's going to be lots of value because no one wants the net stuff, but it clearly is Kevin Durant's worth something in the grand scheme of things.
This is from James Gregory. Vince Carter is so known, thank you, for his time with the Raptors, but how does his cards in other jerseys hold up price-wise? And this is a little bit similar question to the KD question, isn't it, here? So James has very kindly put in a snapshot of all the teams that VC played for: Raptors, Nets, Magic, Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies, the Sacramento Kings. I'd forgotten about that. And then, of course, he had his little cup of tea with the Atlanta Hawks at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be the Raptors, right? Like it's...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's some Nets thought
There's definitely net stuff floating around because I had some in my own collection for a little bit. But I think if you are looking, I think this is really, to me, this is exactly the same question as the KD one. If you want the rookie stuff, you're going the Raptors. If you want his like prime stuff, the finals patches, again, that's going to be in Nets material, isn't it? So
that's very true.
I think at the end of the day, though, if you're just talking about pure value and, what's the cost of cards, it's just going to be Raptors stuff because that's where people will remember him by at the end of the day. Like the dunk competitions. And really, he was at his absolute athletic peak at that time too. So for me, it's just Raptors all the way, and the rest of it's a bit of nonsense, frankly.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Just looking at some values over here at the moment, though. So there's a 1999 Skybox Premium Autographics PSA 7 for 160 USD. There is a 2122 Prism. This is just a sticker autograph, but it's actually still a nice looking card. It's got VC in that purple Raptors uniform. That's for 70 USD. Look, I think the card aesthetics on that's actually pretty good. It's a sticker autograph. I think the price on that is very reasonable. This is not terrible, this stuff, actually, in terms of pricing.
Can I offer my thoughts on what card to chase if you're going after Vince Carter?
Of course.
And given his history, the Dunk and Go Nuts.
Yeah.
Surely, given his victory in the dunk contest.
I actually have the feeling here that a lot of this stuff is going under what I was expecting. So this is a rookie Fresh Inks PSA 8. This sold for 100 USD.
Really?
Honestly, I think that's very reasonable for his resume and the impact that he had on the NBA.
Yeah. I'm on board with that.
Alrighty. So this next one, I'll do Isaiah Thomas. You do Terry Porter.
Is Terry Porter on
James Gregory, please do a You Can't Comp This on Terry Porter versus Joe Dumas. I loved watching Terry Porter when he was with the Trailblazers and teamed up with Clyde the Glide. Yeah, he was an awesome floor general, wasn't he? Like super savvy. I don't really remember him being particularly athletic though, and he had a
Yeah.
pretty slow release on his shot.
Gonna say it might be in my junior rear view as far
Yeah.
as
So Isaiah
opinions go.
Thomas, actually, the reason I want to do Isaiah Thomas, because I've been looking around a bit of Isaiah Thomas stuff at the moment, because my impression was he hasn't been signing for quite a long time. Now, the
Okay.
last couple of years, we're starting to see a lot more stuff coming out of his. So clearly he's back signing again.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this stuff is really nice. So iMac, Court Kings autographs I'm looking at here. There's a Spectra autograph that we can quickly touch on.
Yeah.
This is an impeccable one for 57 USD. The Spectra is going for 36 USD. Court Kings is a sticker. That's $23. I think that's a fantastic buy at that price point. But this is probably the best one to talk about, the iMac one. On-card autograph, number to 75, 51.74. Look, I think for someone that won 2 championships, was, competing head-to-head with Jordan in a very competitive era, I love this a lot. I think that's a really cool card. And they've done a really good job of bringing back those sort of retro photographs with Isaiah in it. So,
Okay.
let's not talk about his personal affairs while he was a Knicks executive. We can skim past that. And I think he's a decent commentator. He's okay on NBA.com, NBA TV.
Fair.
All right. What do you got for me for Terry Porter?
I got nothing. I got the 1987 Fleer PSA 10 that was on card letter. Last sold. That's actually not bad. Base card from 1987. Pop on that's 47, and the last sold price is 398.89. So bit of love there.
Is that the one that's got the grey banner at the top?
Yeah, grey banner at the top, Fleer.
You know what's funny about a card like that? Some of those have been peaking really hard at the moment. I actually wonder if buying something like that in a PSA 10 would be a really savy buy. Just waiting for the spike to come and just, flipping it out.
Well, yeah, it has sold as high as $498, so $500.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting though.
Alrighty.
Card.
The next mailbag type segment we've got is around All-Star Weekend. So basically just asking listeners to reflect on what they thought went well with the All-Star Weekend. Mark Cahill, I think the only real competition for the weekend is the 3-point shootout. As far as the All-Star game goes, there's no one's breaking a sweat on defense, and the slam dunk contest should be the rookie season plays with no props. Love watching Steph 3-point shooting, but what he does in the warm-up every day anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to answer that question, I think I've got actually a good suggestion of what to do for this. Did you see the highlights from the USA-Canada ice hockey game?
The what?
The USA-Canada ice hockey game.
No.
Okay. When we finish potting, go and watch that. Now, I'm not advocating for violence, and I definitely don't want that. However, there was 3 face-offs or punch-ons, whatever you want to call it, before the game even started. They were literally just waiting to line each other up. So I actually wonder if that's what they could do for basketball. Do USA versus the world, or USA versus Europe?
I'm on board with
Definitely,
USA
I don't want them
versus
to be
the world.
facing off and punching out each other's teeth. That's not what I'm advocating for. However, I do wonder if putting that jersey on would get a bit more of the competitive juices flowing.
Yeah, a little bit more of the sense of pride to it.
Because clearly, with the way that people are moving around these days, they do not care about the East versus West thing. So that's my suggestion for that. Paul Stahl, All-Star Weekend should really be moved to a week after the season ends. I'm sure this would encourage some of the top NBA names to enter the slam dunk competition. Games are also too short. I wasn't shocked that LeBron pulled out, but he should have done it earlier. Yeah, look, it would have been better if LeBron pulled out early. Did they replace him at the last minute?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, see, that sucks. I think give the younger kids an opportunity to get in there, and
I don't know. Is it done? Is it really? I don't know. I like US versus the world. I don't know what you do. But I know you got to shorten it. It's got to be shorter than 3 days. That's ridiculous. No one cares about All-Star Saturday. Nobody. The only thing we care, we tune in for 10 minutes to see who won the dunk contest and who won the 3-point contest. It should just be the halftime show of the All-Star game is the 3-point contest. And the halftime show of the Rising Stars Challenge should be the dunk contest.
It's kind of one of those things where I'm very reluctant to criticize the league about trying new things, because clearly it was stale already. If they just kept running it back,
how about you get picked for one thing and one thing only? So if you're in the dunk contest, you can't play in the game.
I mean, if Anthony Edwards was an All-Star and also was in the slam dunk competition, I would be all aboard that.
Okay.
If Steph Curry's in the competition and also in the 3-point shootout, I think that's a good thing, right? Like, I kind of get what you're saying to make it, specific, but at the same time, I feel like that would sort of limit the names back.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I actually wonder if you don't invite the players, you say that you are going to it. So, for example, what I mean by that is the league says
You're
LeBron,
going there.
Edwards, you're in the slam dunk competition. The 3-point shootout, Karl Anthony Towns, Steph Curry, you're going to be in it. Like, there's none of this, would you like to come nonsense. I think that would be, good, particularly for the slam dunk competition.
There's a lot of fake injuries that happen after that. You take out there's too much choice these days. It's ridiculous. But I don't know. You need something to make it more competitive. It was nice to see Wemby actually cared about it. I don't know. The problem is at the moment, the world team, the best player internationally is Jokic, and he doesn't care for the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't imagine Jokic and Luka really caring if it was USA versus the world. Giannis, on the other hand, cares. SGA cares.
I'm really reluctant to say that Jokic doesn't care. I think he cares deeply about his craft and what he does, but it's just the way he comes across. He just seems very nonchalant. I
don't think he cares about All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
I think he sees it as a disruption to the business that he does during the year.
But he also wasn't excited about winning a championship either. But he has to care about that. You know what I mean? Like,
that's his job. That's his job.
Yeah, it was so weird. Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's move on. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Wemby. So this whole segment now is basically listener responses to our posts about Wemby that we've put up. So I've just been trying to map this out in my head. So one date that I want everybody to remember is the 20th of February, and that was the day that Wemby got injured. So when we talk about the sales, so for example, this first one, we're going to talk about the Nebula 1 of 1 that got sold.
Yeah, okay.
2 days after the injury. So that's the final bid on that was the 22nd of February. So you would assume that if you're bidding that much money, you're at least following Wemby's injury history at that time. So that was one thing I was like, did this sell before the injury or did it sell afterward? Because if it sold before, that's terrible timing. It does make me think, if it's sold for this that much after the injury, what would this have sold for if he wasn't injured?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I'll get your response first. Where are you at with this card? This 1 of 1 Nebula sold for $860,000. This is huge dollars. Clearly, the hobby is dead.
It's scale. The nebula side of it. Yeah, well, obviously, the hobby's dead.
The hobby's dead.
There's no money in it whatsoever.
Break out the t-shirts.
Yeah, that's it. The hobby is rest in peace. Sorry, but I don't know. I like $860 is a reasonable price for, and I'm scaling it based on previous sales. Right? We talked about what the Brandon Miller would go for. We talked about what the Jalen Brunson went for. We're theorizing about all these cards, but like this is the Wemby's 1 of 1, right? Rookie card. So I think this is a really good price. I had it between $500,000 and $1 million, and we're just over that right in the middle of it at $860. So
yeah, I think all my hesitation in my head now is all around what's currently happening with him. It's just that I just feel like when you're paying so much money on these cards on pure speculation,
this is on the basis that he's healthy.
He was injured 2 days before. And it could go the Chris Bosh way. It could go the Brandon Ingram way. I'm definitely not trying to, create controversy in that space. Like, you just don't know how that's going to play out. But that's the part that's really stuck in my head. It's just, I think people that buy this stuff have just got the hugest balls in history. I think that's the way I'd probably view that. So, I think that's probably my response. I don't really have too much more to say for that. So why don't we move on to what some of the listeners have been talking about?
Yeah.
We then put up another post on our Facebook page, and it just showed a graph. That graph actually demonstrated the 12-month trend. And now's probably a really good time for us just to check his current card letter pricing, because again, let's keep that 20th of February date in our mind, because when we zoom into card ladder, we can go through every single sale since the 20th of February. The 20th of February, if you look at the 1 month graph, it's basically just at the end. It was 817, 800, 772, 728, 700, 709, 712. Now we're starting to drop down a little bit more. 690, 717, 693, and 712. So clearly the card has found a new baseline for what collectors are willing to pay.
But it's not a huge drop. It's only dropped. It's less than 10%.
Yeah, so in the last month, he's down 8%. And you could probably zoom in a little bit.
15% over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably the more
From February
accurate number, isn't it?
17th to March 1st. Yeah,
Which
okay.
perfectly encapsulates that 20th of February thing. Yeah, so
Down 15.
I think
Okay.
I think if we're talking about all time, and I think let's use Tatum as our measuring stick here. So let's really quickly comp Tatum.
Sorry, I'm just reading comments. Anthony Milne just put in the he's definitely not the worst buy out there. A banana stapled to a wall got sold for 2.5 million.
Okay, this is delicious. Jason Tatum at the moment is trading at $705. Population on that, however, is 912. So Tatum's got a championship. Yes, he wasn't the finals MVP, but I still would give it to him.
It's fun.
I think Tatum is the right price. And I think Wemby is a speculative price. Plus, you've also got all of that extra population. You know,
I mean, we talked about this
a bit extra.
a little while ago. We talked about this with regards to Tatum and him being the most
stable,
correctly
safe,
priced card
yeah.
in the market. And it is. It's this. He seems to be the benchmark.
Yeah. Riley Fortin, buying window. Don't tell anybody though. Yeah. So I am 100% on board with this. I think that's exactly where everybody's head should be. I don't think your head should be panic sell. It should be waiting for the right time for this stuff to bottom out and jumping into the market and having a go, because I think there's so many different examples, particularly in ultra modern, where people have like bottomed out. Cade Cunningham is probably the most recent and relevant one.
Yeah.
Where basically for not the right reasons he's bottomed out. Look, I think the Wemby reason is a little bit different to the Cade Cunningham reason, but it's the same premise. When things start to look good again, that card will just trend back up. So I think that's totally fine. Amir, hello Amir. I hope you're well, mate. Yes, I'm panicking. So
did you get clarity on this comment?
He did reply back. I think it was a genuine it wasn't a sarcastic response, if that's what you...
Okay,
so he's actually... what he's posted down here is a player breakdown on his collection. Okay. So...
oh, okay.
So he's got 65k worth of Wembys. So that would make a lot of sense why he's definitely on the more anxious side.
That would make sense.
Fair. Alrighty, what are we up to next, Dad?
What have we got next? That's a Wemby. I think it's time we took a break, actually.
Is it really?
That's probably. We've been going for about 20 minutes.
We'll go through some Instagram responses and then we will be right back. Thank you very much to US Sports Cards Australia. We are very grateful for your ongoing and long-serving support. ussportscardsaustralia.com.au is where you'll find all of their wares for sale, sports breaks. Check out My Cards Australia, singles purchases, collectible protection, hobby boxes, and of course toys. Water pistols are the big one at the moment in this hot summertime. Now, I really quickly touched base with Ross this week, but what did Ross want it to be pushed on? Ross needs more cards to be sent in. There's plenty of cards going out to people who are purchasing them. The problem he's currently got now is people aren't sending in enough cards. So guys, if you've got boxes of cards sitting around, go onto US Sports Cards Australia, fill out the submission form, post off your cards to Ross. He'll take care of the rest. It's as easy as that. Reach out to Ross, get your cards sent in, get them sold on consignment. The money just comes back into your account. It's the best way to be. Thank you again to Team US Sports Cards Australia. Adam, we're back. How you doing, buddy?
We are good. We're trucking along. We just got sidetracked with all the Wemby talk, I guess.
That's not like us to get sidetracked, is it?
But there's more Wemby talk. We had this post on Insta and on the Facebook. So maybe we should
let's
wrap
get to
up the Wemby discussions.
Flip It Collectibles. Personally, I think prices have been way too high for hype, and necessary correction was well due with or without their injury. Look, okay, that's fine. And if that's your opinion, I respect that. But I'd probably say too, like if you look at the graphic that we've got up, there was already a correction happening before the injury. So I think...
Agreed.
If your opinion is that even at $700 it needs further correction, I'm not too sure about that, because I feel like we've already seen a new floor get created, and we just outlined that a second ago. So look, that's fine. And who knows what it will go down to. We never know that. Chromie_G. Unfortunately, injuries happen. Part of the game, 100%. Too much dollars are invested into Wemby now to stop the hype train. Pop count, however. Yeah, and look, I think that's that's a very reasonable thing to say, frankly. It's the pop count is insane.
The pop count is definitely something to be take under consideration.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's that we should be fearful of it, but it is something to be I don't know, to be mindful of, because it's a big deal in this day and age.
Mm. And this next one, I wasn't too sure if it was from Al Keynes, but this one is from Patrick Ewing Collectibles _33. The one thing keeping the current market on by a thread is crumbling. I mean, there's a little bit more going on in the market than just Wemby, isn't there, Ad?
It's a bit funny.
I think in the ultra modern, it's absolutely been a huge, huge part of it.
Yeah.
And I'd probably also say, too, it's one of the guaranteed liquid cards that is or was in the market. I think you can't deny that.
Agreed.
So maybe the
Completely
point he's trying to make here is, okay, it's a terrible rookie class coming up. He's now injured. What are people going to be rolling their cash into? Yeah, look, maybe that's not as crazy as I initially sort of first read that comment as.
But when you think about it, it's just okay.
All right, Ad, what have we missed?
Got to be mindful. What have we missed? We've got.
I think that's everything. Did you want to add anything else into the Wemby conversation before we move on?
Look, it's a wait and see at the moment from me. I definitely don't want to tell everybody don't be concerned about it, but I'm not telling everybody to run and panic.
Okay.
If you've got them, hold them. This will work out. I don't know. I think Wemby will be fine, but it's one of those you need to be mindful, especially we're talking big dollars as far as the pie goes with regards to the part of the market this guy occupies.
Yeah. I think for me, my strategy moving forward is check card ladder once a week.
Yeah, good point.
And then just jump into the market when you feel like it's gone down to you can swallow it, the loss. Honestly, that's where I'm at. I just think this is a very interesting sort of time, moving ahead. Alrighty, Caitlin Clark is the next thing. So last week we touched on this, very quickly. I wanted to see a few more comps come out before we deep dived into it. And I found a whole bunch of comps. We're talking about liquid cards. It's a really interesting thing for me because WNBA has not been popular at all the last couple of years, and now Caitlin Clark has come onto the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And arguably it's hotter than NBA at the moment. So I think we should definitely talk about this.
Yikes.
Caitlin Clark sales. Alrighty. Cracked ice, silver rookie card from Panini Prism, $150 or 152. A straight silver sold for $335. The blue variation to 199 sold for $890 USD. Yep. All of these priced in USD. I'll just say that so I can whip through it. The red Fearless 99 for $300. The green for $189. A Fractor 86 out of 99 was the numbering on that. $167. This is just straight base cards. $34, 55, 57, 47, 54, and 55.
Yep.
Silver horizontal variation for 22.9. That's probably my favorite purchase out of all of these, frankly. The blue laser for 136, a Monopoly red for 63, a checkerboard for 500, a collegiate kaleidoscopic, which is a insert set, hyper for 56. Yeah. If I had to summarize all of these purchases into one sentence, it is: this is the correct time to sell. And these people who are selling them now, I honestly think that even if she is the greatest of all time, in between now and then, there's going to be a dip in the market where you could just jump back in and pick up this stuff.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. The only one where I'm a little bit, I'll just sort of eat my hat a little bit, is maybe the blue to 199. I mean, if that comes back as a PSA 10, maybe that's the type of card that actually, is something you just put into your vault and keep forever. Mm-hmm. And also, you're not going to particularly be able to buy it that easily. But for example, the base cards, the silvers, the cracked ices, the greens, they're relatively easy to pick up on the secondary market. I wouldn't be too worried about, moving on from those in the future. So look, really interesting one. I think, again, we have to give our little bit of roses to Caitlin Clark. So maybe she's the one who's going to be holding up the hobby for the next few months until Wemby comes back.
Oh, look, I think there are plenty of players to hold up the hobby. Like I get Wemby was the new shiny, the new hotness, whatever you want to call it.
He was shiny.
He was definitely shiny, and
Yep.
he was the real deal. So the injury is a bit sad, but you're right. In the WNBA space, Caitlin Clark for sure, is the real deal, and it's good to see that spotlight stay on the WNBA.
I don't think I've ever asked you this. Now that Prism's out, would you consider buying a Caitlin Clark?
Maybe, but
Okay.
it's still not for the prices they're going for.
Okay. Yep. So you're not into WNBA
Not personally,
at all,
no.
but you would still maybe consider it.
She's definitely an iconic player for sure. Yep. That would be my view on that. Yeah.
Let's move on. This is from our listener, Ados Uchos. And if you are following along from last year in our summary, he was our second highest rated guest of last year. So Ados, we need to get you back onto the show.
Me too.
Now, he's posted about Nikola Jokic, kaboom with an autograph onto it. Card grading versus auto grading. Here's a tricky one. After looking through eBay searching for Jokic kabooms, as I do often, I found this certified Jokic auto on one. I was pleasantly surprised until the confusion on whether the card is graded 10 or the auto graded a 10, whether it is a real kaboom or just a signed proxy or something along those lines. I 100% understand the question you're asking. You're basically saying, what the hell does this mean? I think that's the best way to say it. If it was a true kaboom, then why wouldn't you just get the card graded as well? Anyway, just a bit of a noodle scratcher.
Oh, is this triggering or what for me?
I mean, I can let you answer that if you want. If you're triggered, yes.
Well, you mean we all know my kaboom story, but I think this is not a legitimate card. Like, it's a fake card, isn't it? With an autograph on it. So the auto is certified as a legit thingo. I just don't know if it's a real card because it says trading card Nikola Jokic. It doesn't say anything about the actual card. I have concerns. That would be my thing. I have concerns.
Yeah.
I don't know. I worry about that one. But yeah, that's misleading. If you get a card and it's the autograph that's being graded, not the actual integrity of the card, then that's very concerning.
Yeah. So to answer the question specifically, it is actually an imitation kaboom.
Imitation kaboom.
Looking at a PSA 10 of that card, which it's basically ripping off, it says 2020 Crown Royale.
Correct.
So that's that part of it.
So it's a fake card with an autograph on it.
I think that answers the question. But somehow they've given the card a 10 and then they've certified the autograph. That's the way I would read that.
Oh, the actual... Yeah, that's misleading. When the fact that it says trading card, it hasn't been verified as the Crown Royale one, though. Auto grade. The auto is graded 10. I think this is terrible. PSA should not do this.
Reading through the post, actually, George, who is a very frequent contactor and I'm assume listener of the show, and is more well known for his Patrick Ewing collection, and he spends a lot of time getting Patrick Ewing to sign his own personal cards and then send them off to PSA. So he's very well experienced in all this. He actually summarizes it really well. Easy to determine trading card is issued by PSA DNA. They only authenticate the auto as one option, or option 2 is auto grade. With PSA is either C AAA card authentication, auto authentication. And this is just really complicated, isn't it? CAAG card authentication, auto grade, card grade, auto authentication. CGAG dual service. Keep in mind, once done via PSA will display the details of the card on the ticket. Also, the answer to your question at the end is to auto grade via PSA DNA is cheaper. Also, waiting time is half. Normally, a card signed in this instance would be a low grade. 7 to 8 would probably look at this avenue. Have already been looked at. So I feel like despite George laying it out to us perfectly, it's still very confusing, isn't it?
So have we got? It's a fake kaboom, isn't it? I don't even care about the autograph at the fact that it's autographed at the moment. I want to know if the card's genuine. I'm pretty sure that's what Ados was alluding to. Like, it's all well and good to have a Jokic autograph, but is the card that it's on legitimate, or is it just like getting a ticket stub signed? Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I'm on the record now with this, so I have to actually say something. Okay, I'm going with this is not a genuine card. And the way I would read that is because I'm looking at a genuine one on the PSA register and it actually says 2020 Crown Royale Kaboom, like that exact same card.
Yeah, so
This one doesn't.
George's thing says what comes off the ticket that's lodged to PSA. So trading card Nikola Jokic is what was on the ticket raised.
Right.
So in order to circumnavigate the legitimacy of the card, they haven't put it through as a Crown Royal 2020, 2021 Kaboom. They've
Yeah.
put it as trading card,
Yeah.
which it looks like a trading card. Tick, Nikola Jokic,
Yeah.
PSA certified auto.
Yeah.
Grade is Gem Mint 10 because that's the auto that's been graded.
Yeah.
But it's just the autograph that's been graded. It's nothing to do with the card. So my thought here is that he's in agreement with yours. It's not a genuine card at all.
It's just a stay away, isn't it?
It's a 10 out of 10 autograph. I would be, and it's not just because I've been bitten by fakes, but I would just stay away from this.
Yeah. I think that this is a really good example of how sometimes complicated things can be within the hobby, and also how clever some people can be to create that sort of diffusion, I suppose, away from the truth. And I think the other thing that, is probably worth also mentioning now is just the support that is out there. So what are the resources out there to help you solve these problems? So I think talking to the right people. So in this instance, George was the right person to answer this question. Not
Explained
me.
it.
I'm not an expert on this at all. However, the tool that I did use is the PSA registry. And that's the thing that helps me go, okay, look, this doesn't look the same as that. This is the different wording on that. That helps me sort of say, this is not, a true Kaboom. So, and look, I feel like that's my opinion. Even if I'm wrong, I would still roll with that anyway. I wouldn't be putting my cash into that card just for the fact the way it has been laid out. So I think for me, and look, maybe I'm being too conservative, but that's just the way I sort of, view this thing. Final thoughts on this, and we're going to go to our next break, Ed.
Yeah, look, final thoughts on that is, buyer beware. It's easy to read something once, you suck it in by it.
Yeah.
Take a second look and absorb everything. If something doesn't look right, i.e. the word trading card instead of what set it's from, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
If it doesn't look right, it probably isn't.
Fast Break Trading Cards, thank you very much for re-upping and continue to support our show. We're very appreciative and grateful for everything you do for us. Go to fastbreaktradingcards.com and you will find a whole range of sports trading cards, tops, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, Formula One, tennis, UFC, wrestling, Fanatics authentic memorabilia, Disney Lorcana, Pokemon, One Piece, Star Wars, gift cards, grading services, pre-order trading cards. Let's have a look at what they've got on pre-order. 24-25 Topps Liverpool Palatial Hobby for $1,400. Pre-order Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy Commander Deck, $950 for a 4-box art set. Pre-order Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy Collector Booster Box for $795. Actually, both of those last two are out of stock. So the lads are doing really well at moving some stock out the door. Let's look at one more thing before we move on. I'm in a FC25 mood at the moment. I wouldn't mind opening some soccer cards. 24-25 Topps Argentina Soccer Team Set Box for $110. That sounds more in my price range instead of the $1,400 for the Palatial. Again, thank you so much, guys, for supporting us. Couldn't thank you enough for all the support that you've given us. Thank you very much. Welcome back to segment 3 of today's show. Adam, are you hydrated?
I am very hydrated. I have a trusty water here.
This next segment is going to be focusing on a video that @TheReal27Guy has just put up on his Instagram. If you don't follow Adam Gray on Insta, please do. He just makes good content. I think that's the best way to talk about it.
It's a great way to voice it, yeah.
I will quickly summarize this video here. Basically, it's about a mega collector of Tom Brady who done a bunch of deals with one particular guy. The person who he'd normally been doing deals with essentially then acted as a middleman for a huge deal, which is a one-of-one Tom Brady, which the collector wanted for his collection. They came to a deal of approximately $600,000. The deal was $300,000 upfront. The card would be delivered, then you'd pay the second $300,000. Unfortunately, when the card was delivered, it was just an empty one-touch in a FedEx bag. So unfortunately, he'd been scammed out of it. So I think the thing I want to talk to you about it is the whole part about using a third person essentially as a middleman for negotiations. I really do feel as though that is a red flag, absolutely, for me. Some of the other red flags I was speaking about too is that the card coining didn't look correct. Someone else also suggested in the comments that why didn't you do a video call with the person so that you could actually, visualize the person, visualize the card, in sort of that real time setting, and which is better than coining. Another person said, why would you deliver a card for $600,000 via FedEx? Wouldn't you use a courier, or wouldn't you pay for a plane ticket, go out, get it from the person, pick it up, come back? I think that's all very reasonable and relevant suggestions, by the way. I think my feeling about this, though, was that he'd done so many deals with this guy that he did feel comfortable to spend the $300K upfront. And I think that's my sort of lasting thought about all of this, is that you spend so much time in the hobby building up relationships and trust with people for then something like this to happen. I think it's very sobering for me, because I've got a handful of people. I'll send out stock to them before I get cash. I will run breaks for people before I've got the money. After a certain number of years, you really can get comfortable with people. So I think that's the real one for me. That's not shaking me, but makes me does really think about it. So what about yourself? Where are you at with this post?
I've just sort of read through a few of the comments, but the biggest thing that sticks out to me is using third parties. They need to be like verified and I don't know. You need some level of trust and guarantee.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, obviously the other week we talked about regulation, but there's got to be a way to facilitate these things with some level of integrity for the transaction. Like you're talking over $500,000. This is insane. Why would you treat it like it's a $2,000 card at a card show? This is serious money.
Yeah, so I think that's a real hindsight thing, though. I think in hindsight, when this has all been summarized and played out, you're like, why on earth would you do that? But at the same time, if it's something that you really, really want and you've dealt with someone, multiple times, and also you're a high-end dealer, like maybe for regular people, maybe this is the equivalent of us doing like a $1,000 deal or a $2,000 deal. Do you know what I mean? Like for them, that's just the wheelhouse that they deal in.
So the guy that brokered it has in the comments on the Instagram post, this B Feldman 80.
Which is an interesting little side note to it all, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like, I saw the card and held it. At least what looked like the card, those photos were on sent to me, and I forwarded them to Steve. I am not the seller. I just brokered the deal.
He is the broker. That's right.
Yeah, I did not receive any of the funds. The seller gave me the package, and I put a shipping label on it and dropped it off at FedEx. That's what happened. Also, there was an 86 Fleer Jordan that was shipped to another buyer from this seller and was also not in the FedEx box. Wow.
I still think if you're the middleman, you do have some accountability.
Yeah.
I don't think he is to fault. So just taking what you're talking about. So this is many episodes ago, but we had the owner of Veriswap come onto the show.
Yeah.
So there are actually platforms out there that you can do this. You go onto the platform, you pay them a percentage of whatever it is. They receive the cash. They receive the card. When everything's clears, they then forward it on. It's done. 100% insurance, da-da-da-da-da. So actually, this is not like we're living in the 80s where there isn't platforms and stuff like that out there for it. So I think that's the other thing when you talk about these things too. Like, obviously, we're using hindsight here. We're being podcasters just commenting on the thing, like what are we talking about? But, I think that, yeah, definitely should have been avoided.
Are there questions, Aaron? Are there integrity questions around the guy that brokered the deal? Is he part of it? Is he in on it? It's all speculation, right?
I wouldn't question his integrity, but I would question his common sense.
Yeah.
Like if you're brokering for someone, you're also essentially vouching for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't he have checked the parcel before he put it into the mail?
It's a $500,000 card.
Yeah. That's at least you can say he didn't do his due diligence. All right, let's move on because I feel like we've overcooked this one. And I want to talk about this card more than I want to talk about what we just spoke about. This is a Steph Curry Flawless card that sold this week. The reason I want to talk to you about this is because of the sale price that it sold for. It sold for $168,000. It is a sticker autograph. The sticker isn't clearly visible. I will agree with that. And I think that is a major detractor of this card. However, it is numbered to just 5. And we were just talking about a card today, the Nebula 1 of 1, that's sold for, you need to help me out here, Ad. What was it?
$860,000.
I was going to say 868. Okay, you were right. 860,000.
Yeah.
So would you rather have this Steph Curry numbered to 5 Logoman autograph from his rookie year, or would you rather have this Nebula for $860,000? Like
Is that a trick question?
No, I wanted to slide this in when we talk about the Nebula before, but I'm kind of glad that I waited because it's such a fun question, for us to break down and talk about.
Oh, I'm like every day of the week taking the Steph.
I know, it's as much as I think that Nebula is overs.
If that's the highest price, I'm taking all 5 of those Stephs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. As much as the Wemby went for overs, I feel like this Steph Curry's just gone for unders.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little bit confused as to why it went so unders. Look, obviously it's a sticker autograph. The autograph isn't that visible, but even for Steph...
But it's
rookie,
Steph, it's rookie logo man.
Yeah.
Logo man.
What do you think the future value of this card actually is?
I think this card, I'd be interested to see what the others look like. I think this card in 10 years' time is worth more than $1 million.
Okay. I was going to say it at least doubles, maybe triples. That was my sort of gut feeling.
I'm giving it some time, but post Steph retirement, it's a $1 million card.
Yeah, this is not
a logo man. It's not.
Hold on to it. Yeah, exactly. So just 2 people. This is from. Sorry, by the way, this content is from Card Ladder. Thank you so much, Card Ladder, for your support too. The 2 comments are Splash Brother SHK. It was criminally cheap, 100%. This one is Tupac Collection, which is a play on words of Tupac, I believe. Yeah. And he said comical steal. A+ to both of those comments. I could not agree with you more.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What else have we got here in the quick hitters? Let's do one more and we'll get our last break in, Ad, because we've been absolutely all over the place with
the breaks today. Yes, this is true.
Let's do Bol as our quick hitter, and then we'll go for a break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about PSA changing their grading guidelines. So the Phoenix Suns are absolutely all over the place at the moment. They've got KD, basically they've agreed to trade him at the end of the year.
Yep.
They've got a very veteran-laden team with no future draft picks. They've got Bradley Beal coming off the bench, getting paid $50 million a year. Now he's back in the starting lineup. It's just a hot mess over there. There was another story of the Suns this week saying that the coaching staff took Devin Booker into the coach's office and said, "You're too vocal on the court and you're too vocal in huddles," and the coaching staff can't get a word in. I think this just sounds like,
wow.
Waiting for Coach Bud to get fired, frankly. Anyway, Bol, 25 points, 5 3-pointers and 2 blocks. The talent has always been there. The joke during COVID was, how much Bol are you holding? He was literally the hottest commodity that maybe wasn't Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. I haven't looked at Bol prices for a very, very long time. I'm actually excited to do this, Adam. Silver PSA 10, the population on this is only 1,073, so that's 4 times less than a Wemby. It last sold for $41. Let's look at the all-time sales of this.
Oh,
this is
actually, my goodness. This is going to be...
the peak, this sold for $546, and then there was another sale above $712. There was one there. So, look, I think he's found his floor, hasn't he? He was at $11.50 at one point. Are you buying a Bol at $40, Ad? That's the real question.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not. Last sold $41. But it's better than the people that paid like $500 for it.
Oh, jeez. Yep. All right.
That was funny.
We do not have a sponsor for this last ad break. We said a very beautiful goodbye to the Melbourne Cartel last week. We do have some sponsorship news, though. Our Timeless Moments episode is going to be brought to you by our good friends at the Hobby Hangout. So we'll be talking more about that over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But Let's go get a quick cup of tea, Ad, and then we will be back.
Back for the final stretch.
Alrighty, we're back. Adam, how you doing?
I am fabulous.
Are you hydrated?
I'm always hydrated. Look after myself. Make sure I wouldn't want to be caught dry.
Yeah. So
that sounded wrong.
a little bit, but that's okay. We can move on. It's not a problem. Alrighty. There was a story coming out this week about PSA changing their grading guidelines. And I was definitely interested in reading more about this. And the most informative thing that I actually found was on Reddit. And the answer came from a customer who had emailed PSA to get a response from them. And basically what they were talking about was the percentage on the centering change.
Mm-hmm.
And what the response was, actually, it's already been in their PSA guidelines for quite a long time, but now they're just emphasizing this more and it's being brought into the public knowledge. So I suppose the other way you could say this is that influencers have caught on to this and made it a bit of a story this week. So actually, the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's already been something that PSA have implemented. It's already been on the website. And so, yeah. So just to really quickly read through, not all the responses, but update. I asked for more clarification after this email. Thank you for your reply as well. In regards to the verbiage, the reason why we updated the website is to make sure the standards are clear. The 55-45 tolerance has always been the norm, but at the greatest discretion, they can allow up to 60-40. I sincerely apologize for any confusion regarding this. I can definitely see where you're coming from. So I think where I sort of sit with this is that, and what I don't like, I would prefer something that's a lot more objective.
Yeah.
And also, why do you leave it up to the greatest discretion, for that? Because
that's concerning.
if you already have an allowance, why do you need an allowance plus also at the greatest discretion? Like, to me, that's where, I don't like this at all. And so I do think this does raise some interesting points though. So there was a video that was released, and I actually haven't heard of this Instagrammer previously, at @WeTheHobby_cards.
Yeah.
His point he was trying to raise is that, does it actually increase the value of nines? If tens are going to be so much more difficult to get now, would that sort of create a bit of a bump on when it comes to nines? Look, I think the answer is no. And the reason I say that is because that people don't value nines. They don't value eights. They want tens. I think it's as simple as that. The only thing where this does become a little bit more, maybe not complicated, but intricate, is the grading and the numbering of cards. So where I'm coming from that is the population. If there's hundreds and hundreds of nines, well, no, the value's not there. If there's 2 nines, so the example for that is a kaboom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This
When
is
all
very
of these cards, the centering is off, or it's a low numbered card,
Yep.
PSA 9s can become valuable, can become very collectible, and also too are a landing point for people that want to get into that particular card and can't afford a 10. That's where 9s become, super interesting. But yeah, I think just for the regular Wemby PSAs, Ja Morant, LeBron 20th year silver PSA 9s, no. Like there's
I don't see it. Yeah.
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 Look, I think, do we need to talk more about this, or is that enough?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head pretty well. It's interesting, and I agree with you. It needs to be very straight down the line rather than this nonsense of the greatest discretion. We need to know what we're sending on. Do you know what I mean? Like if there needs to be black and white guidelines on how to grade a card.
Yeah, I feel like there's already enough public perception that PSA is a little bit variable on their grading. So I feel like using the words, greatest discretion, I feel like that creates more variation.
Yep. And
which I would like to see less of.
Yeah, that's fraught with danger, I feel.
Yeah. We're going to do 2 Adam Gray posts in one show. Look, again, I think if he's got good content, he's got good content. I'll summarize this really quickly.
Yeah.
Adam Gray at one time was speculating that the flawless base set numbered to 20 was going to be hyper collectible, and he went out and purchased a whole lot. But in fact, when he looks back at this time, the 2012 Prism set became king. So I think this is a really good one for us to talk about because in my head, Prism is king, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that there isn't other stuff that is collectible. And, we did a segment a while back, what would I do if I started my collecting again from today and I didn't have done all the things that I've done? I would only buy flawless NT and that high-end stuff. And I would say buying a full base set of that is an insane purchase. Yes, he probably hasn't made as much return on investment if he had put that same amount of money to Prism. Like, I get that 100%. But at the same time, in terms of collectability, like, that stuff it's beautiful. That they're proper, 130-point trading cards. The artwork is fantastic. The whole thing. It's just, they're
for
flawless.
sure.
So it's a really interesting dynamic within the hobby. This whole flawless versus Prism thing. So I'd love to hear what
Yeah.
you've got to say about it, Ad. Yeah.
Look, I don't think I've got anything to really add to it. You know what I mean? Like, going back, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Just like that dude getting scammed 300K, right? Like,
it's interesting. I think going back in time, my advice is just hold on to the big cards. Like, if you pull something big, and then look, how much were PMGs worth when they? Do you know, like,
yeah,
Kabooms now? Like, you might see a Kaboom triple in value. It might be time to buy, time to sell. You saw what happened with PMGs. Like, would you want the opportunity to, I don't know, turn a card into more cards now, or do you want to hold it so it's one of these mega cards down the track?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been put in those situations before where I've sold a big Kobe to buy a few different pieces.
Yeah, right.
And I've kicked myself ever since.
Mm-mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was actually going to ask you that.
Across.
I feel like what you're leading into here is sale regret. Yeah, so you've answered that question for me. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's I mean, my biggest one's the Kobe Bryant EX, the credentials numbered rookie card.
Mm.
And I had one, and it was graded, and it was a decent grade. It was 7.5. But that's worth a pretty penny. And I split it to get some other pieces, and it definitely wasn't worth it. So
yeah,
I don't know. Some of these things, some of these bigger ticket items are hard to come by. So be grateful what you do get your hand on. And it doesn't always come from the biggest product either.
Yeah. Look, I get where he's coming from with this post, but actually I'd love to see a full set of flawless too. Like, I think that is an insane chase that he's pulled off there. So
it's
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. Like, it's a big chase.
Yeah. All right. This next one is from Shams, the real Shams too, not all the fake Shams ones out there that I get every morning. I get tricked pretty much.
Is this Is this the one I think it is?
This is about Coach Pop. So really,
yes,
this is for me. So just huge
this is
Pop.
This is a feel good story. I like this. This.
Greg Popovich's statement in part: Mitch Johnson and his staff have done a wonderful job, and the resolve and professionalism the players have shown has been outstanding. I will continue to focus on my health with the hope that I can return to coaching in the future. Popovich will not return as coach this season, and his NBA future remains uncertain as he recovers. This is really interesting to me that of all he's been through, you would actually think, okay, now would be the time for him to retire and just enjoy his retirement, get himself well, take him out of this high-pressure situation. But all he wants to do is get better and get back to that thing that he loves. Like, there are some people in life that have found their thing and they are lifers. And actually, that's where they're happy. Whether it's, being a chef or being a basketball coach or whatever it is. Sometimes I find I actually have an insane amount of I'm not too sure if jealousy is the right word, but you know what I mean? Like, where I'm coming from with what I'm saying with that. So
yeah, for sure.
Whatever Pop wants to do, I'm happy for him. But, I think the main thing I want to say here is, Pop, we are thinking about you, and we hope that you get well.
We do.
As soon as possible.
My thinking, and I'm looking at this as the very glass half full approach. My thought here is Coach Pop said he wants to do it again. And if the San Antonio Spurs and the league have any respect for what he's done for the game, they will let him go out on his terms. And I think that's what this is about. It's, I want to get healthy and I want to coach again so I can go out when I'm ready.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he's done so much for this game and for that organization.
Okay.
That Coach Pop's like, no, let me get better. Then I'm going out on my terms.
Yeah, right. Okay. I just assumed that he's going to be like 85 years old and still being a consultant for the Spurs. He's got his own little office and he just kind of sits in there.
That man's going to have a farewell tour. He's going to be one of the only coaches with a farewell tour, but
he should have a farewell tour. I tell you what, he's done for basketball. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. All right. This next one is also a little bit self-indulgent, but I'm absolutely fascinated with this, and I can't wait for the truth to come out. It's about a report that the Score released about the reasons why the Dallas Mavericks traded away Luka. The Mavericks had issues with Luka Doncic's social habits, like smoking hookah and drinking beer. I mean,
Have you seen the way that man plays basketball?
Yeah, it's just insane. I actually can't believe they would be stupid enough to go either on or off the record and say something like this. So what? Anthony Davis is out for the rest of the year. Is that about right?
Something like that. No. They reckon he'll be back for the Lakers. The Lakers next time they face
I was
the
talking
Mavericks.
to one of the dads at a kid kinder social thing today, and I looked up the injury report. You could not convince me either way of what's happening with this kid. There's nothing that says he's going to be out for the rest of the year. There's nothing that says he's coming back.
It's
Which
Anthony
actually
Davis.
Which makes me think he's not coming back,
Davis.
right? If someone's coming back, they're like, he's going to be back in 2 weeks.
It's classic AD, but I don't know. And look, my thoughts of Luka have not changed. Just before,
hang on a second. You need to tell the listeners about the jersey you just ordered.
Well, I'm a Lakers fan, and I've ordered a Luka Doncic jersey because I want to win a championship. But now. But the fact remains, and I will say the fact remains, that until Luka Doncic wins a championship, he is overpriced, and will remain overpriced. Let's go and check in on his silver overpriced PSA 10.
All right.
Just to make this show relevant.
We should definitely do that. Yeah. You're right about that.
Let's go over the last month. He's holding. There was a spike at the start of the month when he got traded.
Yeah. So is it dipped down?
And he dipped a little bit. Dipped a little bit. But it's the last sold price is $1,450. So it's pretty much stayed between. It's pretty much the 1300s. All the sales through.
Adam, the last 3 months he's up 48%.
Last month I was talking at.
Yeah, if you zoom out a little bit more.
But when did he get traded? It was wasn't the 5th of February or something?
I would still call that a significant spike.
Fair enough. Look, the one at the 1800 on the 3rd of February is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So is the 1600.
But anyway, even if you look at the evened out numbers, which is what you would factor in that 3 months, so it would be higher
over the last year. If
you're that 1800, it would be more than 48%. Yeah. Anyway,
he's
that's
up
all right.
27% over the last 12 months.
Okay.
So
that's probably a nicer way to look at it, isn't it? Yeah.
We'll see. I still think that this is overpriced on the basis that he still hasn't won anything.
Okay.
His pop count looks pretty good compared to Wemby's, though.
Yeah.
It looks terrible compared to most other players, but compared to Wemby, it's a good pop count.
For the era. Yeah.
Wish him a happy birthday. He just turned 26 years old.
Josh Giddey, the last 3 games, 27 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, 24 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, 25 points, 16 boards, 6 assists. I completely cut you off then. Did you have something else to say?
Oh, I was going to say he's only 26, but he still hasn't won anything. But yes, Josh Giddey is cooking at the moment. Who's he cooking for? Can we check where they are in the standings?
The last 3 months, he is up 200%. And I feel like we were calling Josh Giddey a buy. So I am feeling very good about this insane spike. He's last trading at $104. Adam, I still think at $100, he's a good purchase. He was trading around the $200 mark not that long ago. There's no reason in my head he doesn't get back to that $200 mark.
Really?
He was at $350 not that long ago. Yeah.
Right.
Josh Giddey, A+ purchase.
You reckon? I have doubts. I have doubts on Giddey. I honestly, good player, but not a great team. Like the Bulls, I don't see a future for the Bulls at the moment.
No, for sure. The Bulls suck, but that's not the point. Giddey is a good buy at the moment. Alrighty, we're going to finish this week's show on a little Veriswap comparison. We actually did drop a little Veriswap before, but that's okay. $48,000 trade. Who would you prefer? Trader A receives a 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron James X Fractor PSA 9. B receives A 2005-6 exquisite collection patch autograph. Michael Jordan, number to 100, BGS 7.5. What would you take at?
Ooh. I'll take the Jordan.
Yeah.
I'll take
All
the
right,
Jordan.
give me 2 reasons why you would take it, and then
LeBron James is the X. I want to know what the pop count is on the X Factor, but no, Jordan. I'm sure that's game worn, right?
I'm not
It's
even
Michael
gonna,
Jordan. It's
I'm not even
Michael
gonna look
Jordan.
that up.
It's
I
Michael
think from
Jordan's
that era in the
autograph. It's
exquisite,
simple as that. It's Michael Jordan's autograph, and it's a bit of Michael Jordan's jersey. B all day, every day. This is a patch auto, not just a variation of a card. And it is a LeBron James rookie. Yes, I get it. But I think we've all established that the world thinks that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. And
yeah.
that's not changing anytime soon. So we'll go with the GOAT, Michael Jordan.
All right. So my 3 reasons for I also choose the Jordan. And the reason for me is because he just hasn't signed that much in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And with all this nonsense that was going on with Fanatics and the way they handled the negotiations with Panini, I just can't imagine Jordan coming to the table with them. Like, why would he leave Upper Deck that's looked after him all these years? Because there was like a rumor for a while that was going to be happening. Maybe Fanatics would buy out Upper Deck. I just can't see it happening. So it's not like, okay, so what I'm trying to say is, like with LeBron, if I'm waiting for a LeBron autograph, I'm just holding tight.
Yeah,
For
true.
just 2 more years, and then we'll start to see some.
What about if it was a rookie year auto?
Oh, well, then it's Jordan all the way. Like, there's no conversation. But even now, I still want the Jordan. We're talking earlier in the show about players in their prime uniforms, and this is the red, white, and black. That to me is a prime Bulls jersey. That's exactly the one that I remember from my childhood.
Yeah.
The 7.5 grade, look, I'm not too fussed about that in terms of a card. I think those particular cards were tough grades. It doesn't fuss me at all. And my final reason for liking this card is just that autograph. It's not like these crappy sort of like one little digit or a circle as a signature. That is an absolutely immaculate,
it's
perfect,
not stuck
beautiful
over a dark jersey like the Steph Curry one earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, trying to look up the population of that, I couldn't quickly find that on refractor, gold refractor base. Oh, X fractor to 220. There you go. I lied to you. I could find it. Then number to 220.
Okay.
So yeah, it's still not even that particularly short printed in comparison to the Jordan.
Yeah.
And I think also too, it just comes down, like, this is at this point when you're comparing, GOAT to GOAT, basically. We're really, who is the better, greatest of all time? And I think that's where I lean into too. It's just a Jordan thing. So,
it's interesting that the card ladder value on the LeBron for the PSA 9 card ladder value is $19K.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. Yeah, the Jordan all the way.
Final thoughts on today's show, Ed?
It was good. We went through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It was a variety packed episode.
Yeah.
Looking forward to our timeless moment discussion.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a wonderful day.
We'll see you next week.